Well, I think there's a big question mark against him now because we haven't seen the best of him for over a year. As Sid was saying, he had the big fallout that everybody's heard about and read about with Mikel Arteta. He hasn't played, for nearly 2 months now. He's been so far out in the cold at Arsenal. So is he even game sharp if the transfer is eventually ratified? We assume it will be. Probably they're going to use him out on the left-hand side, you would imagine, with maybe Torres through the middle, Traoré on the right. Dembele, he's probably going to just be cold-shouldered. You would imagine now they couldn't get rid of him before the deadline. So I'd say they've got a lot to prove. It's maybe a sign of the times with Barcelona that now they're taking what you could say a Premier League cast-offs, because Traoré was in and out of the Wolves team this season.
Yeah, we'll talk about Traoré in a moment, but you're pretty underwhelmed by Aubameyang and the way he's going to fit into this Barca team because of their style, Craig. Is that fair?
Well, if he plays wide, which he has done for Arsenal, then that might be a slightly different kettle of fish. But if he plays through the middle and teams set deep, I really don't think you're going to get the best out of him. I'm underwhelmed because, as Ian said, Aubameyang hadn't been playing well for a week. I'm sort of repeating what I said yesterday, to a sense. But he wasn't out of the Arsenal team because of disciplinary problems, which he was in the end, but at the start he was out of it because of form. And he was the Arsenal captain. Plus there was some murmurings, whether it's him or not, about players lacking desire and having a poor attitude in training. Now, there's a lot of kids at Barcelona. We've seen them play, we've seen them come into the team, we've seen them been given an opportunity. We already know Dembele's not going to be in the best of fettles, and he's going to be moving in a free probably in the summer. And the words coming out of Barcelona is, well, tough, we're probably not going to use you. He's already, I think, shown himself to be lacking discipline. Now you have another player who has had problems, not just at Arsenal, but at Dortmund with discipline. Is all this worth it with the potential for bad attitudes and showing these youngsters the wrong way to do it for a little bit of short-term success?
Yeah.
That's how I would be concerned, because it's not that they've been pulling up any trees at the clubs. And as Ian said, Traoré couldn't get in the Wolves side at the end, and his end product is the big problem for him, is end product. And end product's about what Barcelona is all about. It's the final third, it's that little bit of quality. So all, again, smacks of desperation. And then they've got the injury to Umtiti, and they've been struggling at the back. It just doesn't make any sense, to be honest.
Both the boys have mentioned Traoré. Aubameyang, you kind of understand, maybe you can recapture some form, Sid. For Traoré, he's never really had any form. We know what he offers, we know how fast he is, but what are Barcelona thinking with this signing? What can they get out of him that nobody else has?
Well, I think in a way, and obviously Craig will be able to guide us on this, that professional athletes, sportsmen, always have that kind of, they always cling to that idea of hope, that it can be different, there can be a way through. And I think that applies not just to players, but I think it applies to managers as well. So you'll have a situation in which Xavi Hernandez is thinking, I can see some of, if you like, the basic skill set here that I can work with. I can see some of the things that I can improve. And what I can improve is the things that actually a manager can impact upon. Decision making, the right players around him to be able to effectively force him to make the right kind of passes and so on. I also think, I think everything we say about Barcelona has to be seen in the context of doing what was possible, not necessarily what they would absolutely want in a perfect scenario. And I must confess, and this is reading between the lines, but there's a bit of me that wonders if part of the idea of bringing in Adama Traoré was also about saying to Dembele, look, you really aren't going to play, You really aren't. We're going to get a player with some similarities to you. Now, look, obviously, they are not the same player, but in terms of having someone who's very direct, someone who runs at people, someone who plays wide, I think there's an element of that. But I think basically it's about looking around and seeing what you can get. And Xavi said it the other day, and he actually laughed when he said it. He was asked about what Barcelona wanted to do, not just in the short term, but in the mid and long term. And he said, well, look, there is between what we want to do and what we can do, there is a bit. And that's when he laughed.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.